Hi, everyone. So good to have you here today. And I could not be more excited with our speaker today. So let me just tell you a little bit. You all have been asking for, the strategies, the practical tools, and we've been bringing some of that along the way. But today we have someone who is applying the virtual supports with helping people get jobs, helping people keep jobs, helping people get ready for jobs, and helping job coaches support them in their jobs. And we are lucky enough to have her come and bring all of that experience and her ideas and suggestions to share with us today. And I had the privilege of working with Judy for a number of years, but she was very instrumental in our Kessler virtual supports employment project that we had for 3 years. And we've continued working together since then. She spearheaded the work that came out of Iowa that led to some of the developments in Missouri that you all heard previously. So we're hearing directly from the expert today, and I'm so excited to have her join us and to share all of the things that she has and the specific strategies and tools. So today I'm happy to introduce Judy Worth from the Iowa USAID, and she is going to begin, and then again we'll have questions at the end, and then after that we'll have opportunities for the state agencies to share any developments or any other tips with us. So Judy, I'm going to turn it over to you, and thank you so much for being here today.
Well, good morning. It's morning there, it's afternoon here. We've had lunch already. Sorry, guys. First thing we need to do is qualify that I am no expert.
Yes, you are.
I'm just a worker bee. I'm just a worker bee out there doing this, and I'm very excited to talk with you guys because I plan on learning from you as well. This is a whole new area that I think by the grace of God and COVID, we got kicked into. But I think it holds a fair amount for our futures. So I'm going to share with you my story. I'm going to encourage you in the chat box. I'm going to ask questions. Any of you who want to uncover your faces will make this more enjoyable for me, and never be confused. It's always all about me having fun. Because I've been coaching for a long time. I still get a coach. I have the most diverse job in the USAIDs probably in the country. I get to train job coaches and job developers through a partnership that we have with Iowa APSI. I get to set up and facilitate work experience with a local community school district. And I get to job coach and job develop still. And then I get to work on all kinds of grants and systems change things. So I get to do a little bit of everything. So I feel quite blessed in my work. And I like the fact that I still get to coach and I still get to develop jobs, because that makes it real. You know, those of you in governmental roles and those of you in USAID roles and academic roles, oftentimes we forget the flavor of the day because we're not in it. And I love the fact that I can tell you exactly what we should do to coach this situation and know in reality that it's going to bite me in the behind. Okay, so just to qualify and disqualify myself simultaneously. Okay, so please feel free in the chat box to jump in with any questions or ideas. I'll be scoping it out intermittently. Okay. All right. So our USAID is part of the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics. As Wendy said, we got to work on the Kessler grant together, and Iowa's role was a little bit different. We thought that we were going to provide follow-along services using virtual technology, you know, because Iowa's a relatively rural state, and as a job coach, a job developer, you may have to drive 35, 50 miles to get to where you're going to check in with somebody for 15, 20 minutes. So let me just do a quick survey. In the box, good luck, Jeffrey. How many of you are job coaches, job developers, direct care staff right now? Pop in if you're a direct care staff. I'm gonna watch the box here. Reach in your chat box and say, that'd be me. Because none of you have your hands up. I can't see all of you. Got a couple, yeah, okay. Okay, good, good. Thank you. Okay, how many of you are managers, program directors, agents from CRPs? Way to go, Peter. We all need more job developers. We got some managers. Okay, we got a VP supervisor. I love it. Good, good. Okay, excellent. Good. Okay. And then how many governmental sort of policy sort of people do I have out here? Okay, good. So we got well, hello, Alaska. We've got a decent variety of folks here. This is great. Because I don't think it matters what role you're in as you start thinking about this, but I want you to feel free to jump in and say, I've done this, or we did this and it was a great idea, okay? So with Kessler, we decided we were gonna provide long-term supports through using iPads, so that instead of driving, you could do that, you could check in, you could have just-in-time job coaching services if you needed. We learned so much during this process, and the first one was that my best ideas are usually wrong, okay? So I will share those experiences with you. But I want to start by asking you a question. In what ways could you see you using assistive technology to assist you in your job coaching? In what ways could you see that right now? In what ways are you using it? Again, throw them in the chat box, I'll take them. I want everyone to think of a way that they could or a way that they are using assistive technology and using virtual technology to assist them in coaching or coaching remotely. Think about it. FaceTime, yeah. Yeah, that's been one of our primary ones. We can jump on that. Yep, your iPhone, man. Yep, Zoom has become my new best friend. I exercise to Zoom in the morning, you guys. It's the only way I get to see my friends, you know? But I'm surprised how much I like Zoom. I thought I would hate this, but I don't mind it. Yeah, some virtual assessment tools, good, you guys are great. I love it, okay? And I think as you think about this, you're gonna go, okay, there's more and more ways that we can use technology to help us do our work. And I'm gonna show you a few of the ways that we're just starting to use and finding our ways through. Because I think we are just beginning to scratch the surface of this. I don't think we've even begun to think about what we could do. And the cool thing is I work with youth, you guys. I have an edge over some of you. Youth understand technology so much better than we ever will. I mean, it is so awesome. I don't have any trouble getting them on board. And young job coaches, like, oh yeah, hey, let me show you what we could do here. And I go, wow, good idea. Okay, use the youth. They will guide us, okay? Because we have not yet even started figuring this stuff out yet. And that's kind of what I find really exciting. I've moaned and groaned because it took us here in Iowa, because I work in collaboration with the hospitals. It took us too long to get our technology component started. So I would encourage people to have their own technology, whether it's their iPhone or their own cell phone, instead of you trying to provide it. Yeah, Karen, rural Wi-Fi issues can be an issue. Period. But that doesn't mean that there aren't apps and still ways that we can use technology to help us in lieu of what we can do via the internet. And that's where this forces us to think outside the box, okay? Some of the ways that I'm gonna highlight today include remote job coaching and supports. The way that we can FaceTime, even just phone calls in. I have a person in my job coaching class who had to coach at a daycare in the midst of COVID, which, you know, what's the likelihood they're gonna let a coach go into the baby room during COVID? Like 0. But this individual needed support. So he knew what the trick was. What is the answer to everything? Zoom. So he Zoomed. He sat in their conference room on a laptop with Zoom, and he put the phone where this individual was working, and he was able to give her direct time feedback, take data, and support her when we would have in the past said, we can't do this, or let her fly solo and pray for forgiveness later. And those of you who are coaching, yeah, we sometimes do that. Okay. So that's how we can use that. We're going to talk about app-assisted job coaching. Okay. We'll talk about virtual training of job coaches and job developers. I'm in the middle. That was what I was doing right before this, is working with job developers. And you guys don't know me, so I'm going to have to pray for forgiveness. But I'm pretty real in my presentations, and we're doing a job development simulation in the job development class. Oh my goodness, that is a dance like none other. Having fake email accounts and sending stuff back and forth, whole new ball game. But I'm impressed with what I'm seeing in the job coach and job development classes doing it virtually, which is going to ultimately save people money, and I think provide better information for them. That to me is exciting. I'm going to show you what we're doing with some virtual career labs where we're working with kids in schools to go through exploration, virtual job shadows. And then I'm going to show you something that I expect to get a little kickback on, but it is a remote work experiences. I'm going to show you how in our school district, I have a teacher who's a genius, I think, and we are working with some youth with some very significant disabilities. Kids who doing community work experience for is challenging because of the nature of their disabilities and behavioral issues associated with them. And so, and with COVID, these are kids who through their IEP are not getting an opportunity for education because they're not going to sit in on the Zoom math class and the Zoom whatever class. So we created this work production class. The kickback I expect to get is someone's going to say, how's that different than a sheltered workshop, Miss Judy? Well, first, they're not all in the same room. They're just all on the same Zoom page. Two, I acknowledge that it's not the best case scenario, but these kids would be sitting at home with nothing. And I'll show you the power of it. They're doing it right now, as a matter of fact. So if you keep watching me kind of look aside, it's like I'm getting these messages. So-and-so can't get in the Zoom room. So, you know, so distraction, welcome to it, ADD. So I want to talk about some remote coaching and give you some examples that we saw in the Kessler project that I thought were kind of cool. The names have been changed to protect the innocent and the guilty, okay? I always tell people when they say, did you change the name? How do you know if I changed the name? Unless you know this person, you don't know, but I did. Okay, this is Sabrina. Sabrina lives in a pretty rural setting, but she commuted in and had a job at Applebee's. Okay, and her coach was done. She was stable. She was actually doing pretty well, except for the intermittent thing, the intermittent things that crop up. Okay, and those of you who are doing this, you know these things that crop up. They're, you know, somebody came in dressed inappropriately, or a customer who was difficult, or, you know, whatever, or additional training, whatever. Excuse me. But she, I don't know if Arizona has the same funding issues that we have in Iowa, but I bet you do. She worked for an agency where their employment program in her community, in her region, shut down. So she had no more supports. Well, her agency has multiple locations, and they have a location about 100 miles away, and they called me and said, Judy, can we still be part of this project and support her using the iPad 100 miles away? And I went, oh, yes, yes, you can. This is the true test, right? Can a coach be 100 miles away and support a person? And the cool thing is we found, yes, they could. FaceTime with her, phone calls with her, her employer emails, And then intermittently, that coach had to travel the 100 miles. And that was for training. You know, when it was time to do some specialized training that she needed help with, the coach then drove the 100 miles, went over and provided that support. Okay? So that for us was really exciting, because at face value, our first response was, well, your employment program shut down, so they aren't going to be able to do this. Well, yeah, they could, and they did. Okay, so this is where you have to start going, what would it take to provide this individual the support? And the answer was really simple. It was her iPhone. Okay. This is Misty. She works at TJ Maxx. You know, where the max for the minimum, and she's a kid. She is still in high school. Okay, so just very quickly in the box, or actually use your little reactions. Raise your hands. How many of you are working with youth, with kids? Come on, you can do it. Use those reaction things. See, I do this with the kids we teach classes to too. We make them interact with us. There we go. You guys are good. I like this. Okay. Yeah. And we know when we're helping people in their first placements, it's going to go bad sometimes. There's drama and trauma and inexperience and immaturity. And it's a snowstorm waiting to happen. Okay. And so she works on the floor as a clerk. And I should, probably disclose a little bit that Miss Misty has a little bit of the drama disability, where everything is, oh my gosh. And so anytime anything changed, she was quitting. I'm out of here. They told me to step to the left. I'm picking on me, and her coach was in there every day for a long time. And so they were able to begin fading, but then we kept having these blow-ups where she was going to quit. And those of you who work with youth or work in general, we know that when someone says they're going to quit, the boss doesn't quite look at it as entertainingly as we do. They're like, okay, you're serious, so you're quitting. Okay, great. You don't get the chance to pull it back. And so we worked really hard with her. I didn't, her coach did, worked with her really hard to call before you quit. That's all you got to do. You can still quit. We're not going to stop you from quitting, but call me before you quit. And man, this changed so many things, because in general, Misty loves her job. She's just a drama queen. It's the high of, I love it, everything's wonderful, this is the best job in the whole world. I hate this sucks, And I thank you. I love it. I look out there, I see a few of you going, I know her. Did she move to Arizona? Because I'm working with her. Well, using a simple FaceTime call, they were able to address most of those things. And, then what happened with this was a secondary benefit. The coach was able to work with her supervisor, those natural supports, to help them begin to cue her to make that call. And I believe her coach told me one time the coworker actually called and said, she's having a meltdown. And the FaceTime happened. And things settled. Okay. And for those of you who are in your minds going, well, Judy, how is this different than just having a phone call? Sometimes it's not. But think about those people who need to see you. I had a situation just last night with a young man who I used to support, but I think he's now my son. He tattooed my name to his arm, so I think he's my son now. He was having a complete emotional breakdown. And we had text, we had called, and it really was when he could see my face and we could talk through it, eye contact, that he could de-escalate. So the visual component of this can be really important sometimes. You got to titrate it, make it work for you, okay? And for that individual. Okay, so that's Miss Misty. Let me finish off talking about these app-assisted coaching and supports with Justin. Okay, so we've got remote coaching where we can do FaceTime in, check in and stuff. But we also can use apps and some of the natural things that your phones do, that these cell phones and and smartphones and tablets do all kinds of things that we can use and abuse them for, okay? They have counters, they have timers. You have that photo album. That photo album can be, you know, I don't want to age myself, but I will. You know, how many of you, well, I can't see your faces now. I want to know how many of you can remember taking Polaroid pictures to make the picture schedules. The cool thing is those Polaroids had a little thing at the bottom you could put a clip in and they could just spin them through, you know. Now if we do that to people, they look stupid. We stigmatize them, okay? But nobody looks stupid when they go, you know? And so a simple thing you can do with your phone is in your photo album, is set up the sequence of tasks. They go thunk, 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 thunk. How many of you have your to-do list on your phone? How many of you have your contacts, your emergency people you need to call? All that information, your phone is a wealth of stuff. And the phones, you know, the youth I work with, maybe not yours, but the kids I work with, they can't find their bus pass. They never had that lunch that their mother made for them. They're lucky if they have their shoes on, but they always know where that phone is. That phone is like attached to them. And so it's got so much power we can use to help us. And I'm all for that. I'll take advantage of anything I can. Now, our boy Justin here, Justin was working at the doggy biscuit factory, which I thought was the coolest thing in the whole world, you know. Dog treats, you can even taste them too. They were edible, which I think everyone should do. If you can't eat them, the dog shouldn't eat them, okay? Just saying. And so Justin has been there for a long time, and productivity is always an issue. Justin's main priority for working is to be able to talk to people and interact and show off what he's done a little bit, but working secondary, not terribly motivated. And so they required a coach to be there 100% of the time. I'm sure none of you know about this either. These are things that only happen in Iowa, where we have coaches who never are able to fade, either because the coach can't fade because they don't know how to fade, or the coach won't fade because if they fade, then they have to go someplace else, or the coach can't fade because the employers become accustomed to them being there. And if they're not there, then that person isn't real. They become that person's appendage. And those are the ones that scare me the most, okay? Because then you've got employer relations you have to deal with, and you've got to build the competence and confidence in that worker. Now, tell you what, systematic instruction is a lot easier than teaching confidence, okay? Because now you're not teaching the worker with a disability. You're teaching the coworkers and the boss, okay? Excuse me. And so in his situation, we started to use the phone to track, to serve as a counter. Now the counter, that was kind of cool. We started there, that's cool, but you know, it was only cool, you know, that honeymoon period, it was cool for about a week and a half, and then it became boring. So what were we gonna do? So we tried to figure out ways to make it so it was sexy. How could we make it so that that counter could produce something that would give him what was ultimately reinforcing, which was not the paycheck, was not an issue of productivity, but it was being able to brag to his coworkers. Well, you know what? You can make phones make graphs. So he could then go, hey dude, look what I did today. I did more than I did yesterday. I'm really cool. And that was reinforcing. That was what was gonna work for him, okay? And so we focused on that. And then we began to try to fade the job coach out of there. I kept trying to push the agency, move that coach out, move the coach out. And they would check in via FaceTime a little bit, and then they'd pull back out, you know? And I would tell you the coach is still there today, but not as close and not as much, okay? And so this was kind of an interesting way to use apps and use the phone. A couple other things. I mean, this is time in your box there. Tell me if any of you are using really cool apps or have individuals you're supporting who are using really cool apps, because there are a whole array of them out there. there are things like Can Do, C-A-N-D-O, and it allows you to put together picture lists, task lists that people can use. Yep, go to meeting. Yep. And there are, there's another one that I like. It's called SAM. It's the, oh gosh, hold on. I'll remember what it's called. It's an anxiety self-anxiety management system, SAM. And it's a cool little app. It's got things that can cue you as to what to do when you become anxious. And so you train someone that when you feel this way, go to your app or go to Calm. You know, we've all seen that. Oh yeah, Christopher, go away. We work remotely with people who are nonverbal and unable to independently text or write. I'm going to show you what we're doing with that here in a minute. Okay, that gets trickier. You betcha. That's where you need natural supports and coworker support. And one of the cool apps that I should have included here, I apologize for not doing it, was Jennifer White has put together an app called the Work Autonomy app. If you're not familiar with that, go check it out. It's kind of cool. For some of our people who have more significant disabilities and need a lot of information, it's really kind of cool. And it costs, you know, it's a couple $100. And it can run on your iPhone, it's all Mac based. You can run on your iPhone, your iPad, your iPod. And people are like, well, gosh, can they afford to do that? Oh my gosh, how many of the people you support are buying 55-inch TVs because they got to spend down their money? Or their 14th new dresser? For goodness sake, yes. I think they can. I know, I'm sorry. Please forgive. I always tell people when I teach, if I don't offend someone, I've probably not brought up anything new. But that's my core belief, is that people need, you know, I have to pay for my own phone. So why doesn't everyone else? You know, so I'm good with that. You know, and you know that your phones can read to you. They have accessibility tools on them, so your phone can read the emails. They can read the messages coming in. So Christopher, you got me thinking on my feet here, okay? About what would I do with somebody who can't read? Well, those phones can read. These phones can read. You can be set up to do verbal, and you can also text verbally, as we all know, but I worry about that. How many of you do voice texting and think Satan has moved into your phone? Because some of the voice texts that come out of that was not what I said. And I always laugh, and sometimes I send them just because I think God speaks, you know. But we can use all this, and I think we have to get creative and try things and recognize that from person to person, it's going to change. What works for Jackie is not going to work for Hilda, okay? And what me as a coach may be able to use may not work for Jeff, and that's okay. The thing we know about customized employment, about job coaching and job development, is that we can shift, and we should. And every time we do, that's probably what we love about it. Let's get real. That's what we love about it, is no one's the same. And we don't want it to be the same. But in terms of where can we get this, you guys, for the first 10 months of Kessler, we're putting together this comprehensive Google document of possible apps that could be used. And by the time you got to them, and Pacer put out this really great book, this little pamphlet about apps that people can use. But by the time you open them up, those apps are gone. They don't work in conjunction with your phone or with whatever you're using. And then it happened. It was an accident. I went to the Job Accommodation Network because I wanted to get some information about how to provide an accommodation for something. Wanted ideas. And I hope if all of you guys are not familiar with the Job Accommodation the Job Accommodation Program, go there. AskJan.org. AskJan.org. Go there and check it out. Because if you're not using it, you make it your new best friend, because it's amazing in terms of offering accommodation ideas. But look what they have here. They have apps. And you know what? They'll keep it up to date. I don't have to. God bless them for their work. You know, this makes my life easier. And you can look under different things, and look at all the different things that they provide apps for. Don't go recreating the wheel when it's right there for you. And you'll see here, like for apps for concentration that I put out there, they have them for the Androids, they have them for the iPhones, and some of them cost, some of them are free. But start there and empower the person you're supporting to look at those and go, which one feels cool to you? Which do you like? I think that's cool, okay? That was my big aha moment of how can I make my life easier? Let me share it with you because it took me too long. Has anybody found anything out there that they liked? Anybody using an app out there that they're particularly impressed with? Yes, there are. There are any apps that help with counting cash. There are, and you know, the work autonomy app, I will mention, I'm getting to know that better and better because I've been doing some work with Jennifer White on this, is they have components of it where they have what they call a money board to help associate productivity with money that you make so that a person can begin to classically condition the fact that they're making money and it's because of work, and when they get so much money, they get to get whatever it is they want to buy. Okay. Yeah. So a couple things that I think are important about apps is keep it simple. Don't pull out something like the big work autonomy app if the person doesn't need it, because they're going to go, you're making me look stupid. And I think the thing that's important to each and every one of us is that our competence shines. And that's our responsibility as coaches and as support people, is to help people's competencies shine. So, you know, and I can say this easily because one of my favorite lines is the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And I know it because I laid most of those stones. My very first accommodation to begin fading was for a young woman in who had an issue. Well, it was her very first job. And she was this tiny, short little woman. She'd lived in her mother's attic. She was probably in her late 40s. She'd spent her life in the attic. Mom died, and all of a sudden it was time for us to get her a job. I got her a job at the university bookstore. And it was so cool. I was so proud. I took my Polaroid pictures and I mounted them on an 8x12 sheet of cardstock. So here's this woman carrying around this billboard that's bigger than she is with her task list on it. And I thought it was really good. I was very proud of myself until I realized if a strong breeze came along, she would fly. Again, we do the right things. Sometimes they don't work out exactly as planned, but that doesn't mean I quit trying. So I just know that you're gonna make mistakes and be okay with it. Keep it simple. Keep it simple and make it so it doesn't stick out too much. Mainstream technology, the things our phones can do for everyone, are gonna fulfill the need for probably 60% of the things you do. So don't make it harder than it needs to be. That doesn't make us more successful. It makes everyone look good, okay? And you know, that's that third one too. And teach people how to use the speech to text and the text to speech. And those things just keep getting better and better on our phones and on our tablets. The other big lesson we learned in this is one of the coaches was just going nuts. She won't use her iPad. She hates it. She'll do it on her iPhone, but she won't use that iPad we gave her. And it's like, oh no, heaven forbid that she won't use the iPad, but she's still communicating with you. Let people design what works for them, okay? And again, that was one of those aha moments where all I could do is sit and laugh. It's like, no, this is not a failure. It's okay. Give me the iPad back, forget about it, use the iPhone, she'll use that for a lifetime. She gets the iPad for 8 months, give me the iPad back, keep the iPhone forever. Okay? Let's see here. So I'm gonna just make a shift now. I've talked about how we can build the capacity and support workers with disabilities using virtual technology. How can we use it ourselves? How can we use it to develop our capacity? And this was something that got forced by COVID. And I like it. Because we can no longer meet in groups, and I have a contract with APSI that I got to fulfill because I got to keep my job. Remember, did I mention at the beginning, this all comes back to me. I want to keep my job. So how are we going to make sure I get these job coaches trained? Well, the answer was, again, Zoom. And so we went through and we had to, our APSI training had been set up to be, excuse me, 2 8-hour days of training, face-to-face training. And so we broke this down, and now it's set up right now to be 8 days of 2 hours of training each day over a 2-week period. And I got to go on record telling you, it is my observation that I believe learning is better, because instead of 8 hours getting all the values, tools, data collection, everything of job coaching just kind of shoved down your throat. And they're good trainings, don't misread me. I know Wendy's nodding her head because I know she's in the same boat, that we provide excellent training, but it's a lot of information for oftentimes job coaches who are, a month or two in optimal situations on the job, trying to absorb and gather. Now what's happening is over an 8-day period, they're getting little blurbs with stuff to go home and ponder and come back the next day and discuss. I feel like we're getting a higher quality training as a result. But so we've been doing that. I've done 2 sessions of that, and I have to say the feedback has been excellent. I think I was worried about, can you connect with people like this? I like it. I think we can. I think it makes me work harder. Don't get me wrong. It's easier to stand in a room and give you longer lunch breaks when I get tired. I can't do that. We're on for 2 hours. But I'm really pretty solid that I believe that 2 things are happening here that are going to serve us well long-term. Is one, the learning is better. People are having time to process, to think, to come back. And I make everyone tell me the next day, what stuck with you yesterday? What mattered? What are you going to use? And we can't do that in 8 hours of training. What did you get in the last 45 minutes? Diarrhea? I don't know. Okay. So I like it because I think it's better. The job development, I'm just now, after my first week, we've got this set up for, that was again, 2 full days of training and 1 full day of job development simulation where it's a very interactive kind of, they get memos, they have to work on doing a placement, do the assessment, all the stuff that goes along with job development. I'm scared about that. That starts on Monday. And it's going to require a lot of dancing and finagling with made up email accounts and memos flying. But you know what? We're fearless. We're job coaches. We can do anything that we put our minds to. It just might not be pretty. But I think as we figure it out, I think we're going to continue to grow and learn. But the second thing that's happening is, think about your agencies coming together for 2 days of training. Yep, you hang out together, but those days are intense. And maybe you stay overnight, maybe you hang out and associate, but sometimes people just go off and do their own thing after being in a training for a full day. Okay? What's happening here is these people are coming back together over 8 days, and we are building community. Each class has gone, can we get back together next week? And we're building community that I think will sustain us. It will strengthen our APSI, as well as strengthening our job coaching community. We're going to create a community of practice. So often we talk about communities of practice being kind of those upper level think tank sort of things. I'm of the opinion that the community of practice needs to begin with us. Because you know what? Those of you who are out there in the trenches, you are making the magic happen. And we need to let that trickle up, and we need to support each other, because when I talked about Miss Misty, you all knew her. You all knew her, and a few of you had tricks that helped make her succeed. We should be sharing that with each other. Okay? And so I'm very excited about those things. Then let me trickle it down. So we talked about on the work site. Now I'm going to talk about what we're doing in school. Again, COVID, necessity of the mother of all inventions is now going to be COVID in my lifetime, I think. Okay. we had been doing career labs in our schools where my colleague and I would go out and meet with kids and do some career planning. For some, just help do some basic job seeking, kind of like a workforce development right in the school, okay? Similar to what many of you vocational rehabilitation folks are doing through pre-ETs, but it was very individualized, one-on-one sort of things. And so when that got shut down, we thought, what are we gonna do? So we started, and our vocational rehabilitation here in Iowa is doing a really tremendous job with their pre-ETs work. They're doing Zoom meetings. They started them up almost immediately for pretty large groups. They're having 30 to 40 people in each group. We recognized that that's not going to work for everyone. So my associate and I set up a few classes that we then offered to people who could do pre-ETs and still come to us or whatever, you know, and for those people who didn't. And that was pretty cool. We did a career exploration class where we do some virtual job shadowing, some interest inventories and such. We did a self-advocacy class, which was facilitated by one of my colleagues who has a disability. And we supported him in that. He and I co-taught. We did a communication class. That was our epic failure. We thought we could call it communication and do interviewing and job seeking and workplace communication. Oh no, kids are not interested in that crap. Nope, nope. We decided it should have been job seeking or interviewing 101 or something because this was too broad, okay? One of our big hits was the driver's license study group. That was cool. A lot of the youth we work with are not taking driver's ed, they're not able to get in that stuff, and they need help studying because they don't know how to, this is not one of their strengths. Special education does not teach children how to study. Don't know how to tell you that, sorry educators out there. Maybe it's different in Arizona, but in Iowa we don't. We just try to get them their diploma. And so we did all kinds of cool things, and that was cool. Kids really engaged in that, and they showed up. They were great. And then we set up something where we did a transition checkup because one of our big fears, I don't know if this happened to you, but schools shut down in March. And I know that educators begin transition planning at the age of 14. I know they do. But you know when the magic happens is February of the year they're graduating. Well, we lost that. And so we had a real fear that we were going to graduate kids. They were going to staff them. They're going to close out their IEP, staff them out and say, good luck, have a good life. Are you working with folk rehab? Yeah, good job. And it really scared us. So we put together something to kind of do an assessment. And I would be lying to you if I told you that everyone bid on it and that we had great success with it. The teachers went, no, thank you, they're graduating. We are not going to look at that because, you know, we don't want to get in trouble. But we expect in the future that we're going to be able to use this more and more to assure that every student is linked, and that the way we set it up is that that teachers aren't responsible for it all. It's set up designed to say, Judy's not affiliated, doesn't have, you know, hasn't applied for vocational rehabilitation, nor has she applied for the waiver services. Therefore, we have no funders in place. You can take me and introduce me to every provider in the community, but if I don't have dollars behind it, I'm not getting those services. And so this is designed to push teams, okay? And then the last thing we did, which is going on right now, that's why my phone, and I wish my emails did not come across the Zoom screen, is we have this production class for some students with some very significant disabilities to let them do something, okay? And I saved you a couple pictures, you know. It was designed for those kids who can't access or they struggle with typical virtual classrooms. It's just not there for them. And so what we did is we grabbed, we found that our crisis center needed dog food, and our shelter had a bunch of dog food donated. Well, the average homeless person, the person who's struggling, does not have the capacity to carry a 30-pound bag of dog food around to feed their dog. And so what a better opportunity for some of these individuals to be able to do something, okay? And that was fun. And then we also, the homeless shelter gets all these things donated, and the church, our shelter does not appreciate the fact that the churches did a really nice thing and they put together these little baggies with a water bottle, a toothbrush, a Band-Aid, toilet paper, you know, has like 80 things in it. They wanted it separated out because what in reality people wouldn't come in and they need, I need this, I need that. They don't want all the other crap. It's just gonna get thrown on the ground. And so I got people unpackaging this. And I got people packaging diapers, cases of diapers into boxes of 12, into packages of 12 to go to our crisis center. I did not expect a couple of the things that have come out of this. And you're gonna see our actual Zoom meeting here. I'm gonna show this to you because this is cool, okay? You're gonna see, I don't, you guys can see this. Those are the workers, are the individuals with disabilities who are taking part of it, each of them in their own home, in their own place. Here, I have got their helpers. This one down here, I'm pointing at the screen. You guys can all follow my hand, right? This here is mom, who is coaching her daughter here. And I would like to go on record telling you the first time I met this young woman, she cleared the school. She has not attended our school for more than an hour in her whole academic career because her behavior is so aggressive. Yet she is doing this, and when school's in session, I'm very proud to say that she is doing work experiences for about 2.5 hours a week, which, nope, it's not my employment goal that I want to achieve, but boy, this is a huge step. This is a kid who we would look at it as a system and go, yeah, get back to us. The passion of her teacher with my support is giving this kid a chance. That to me is huge. Here's mom helping. And over here, we can see this young man also has significant issues. And his house staff, here mom is helping. We've engaged families to provide the coaching supports that people need. That is so cool. But here's where it gets cooler. You can see me looking intently trying to take this picture too. Here, and here, the triangles are paraprofessionals. And they're saying, Judy, you want paraprofessionals to come to this? I said, yeah, I do. Because you know who those kids know? They know their paras. And you see this one here? This was a reinforcer. Here's a kitty. Everyone's going, oh, it's a kitty. And as you know on Zoom, we can highlight. I can pull her into the spotlight so everyone can see her. And then we can spotlight kids while they're working and show off and celebrate what they're doing. But now, I should mention here, the red triangle, she's an interpreter because half of these families don't speak English. You guys, this is Iowa. This is big stuff for us. We don't know about diversity here, you know, okay? But here's where it gets, oh, and I should mention, there's teacher. There's their teacher. One of their teachers. One of the other teachers, I'm not supposed to say this out loud, he is located about over here in their house because he wasn't supposed to be there, okay? This is the kind of teachers that I work with, people who are committed to their youth to be in their houses during COVID, breaking school policies, so that this young man gets a chance to do something and gets the opportunity to have an education like every other kid in school has. But now it gets really cool. You guys ready for this? I'm gonna get goosebumps. These two women in the diamonds, they're their best buddies. They're classmates who are coming along and they're cheering these kids along. And this to me is freaking remarkable. You know, and here's JB, he's bagging up dog food. And there's mom right with him. And here, look at this woman up here. This is one of his classmates who's delighted to be part of this. And I gotta tell you, my teachers are benefiting too. They cry. They go, this is so cool. I get to see them. I looked at my phone just a second ago and the teacher who's facilitating because I'm here is like, I'm crying. This is such a cool class. I work with freaks. But you know what? We need this kind of passion to help people access work. Okay, so I'm going to close and then open up for questions with the lessons we learned. We need to plan on using technology from the get-go. Okay, from the get-go. We started in follow along. Duh. No, the employer, the person, the job coach, they need to see it. We need to have it as part of our job development process, part of our assessment process, the whole way. Okay. Look for the right players, especially at first. Look for the geeks, the people who love technology and will get out there and look for cool apps, because if you show me the cool app, I'll use it. I am a great ape. I am not so good at coming up with the original idea. Okay, so look for those people who love this stuff. They're going to show us things that we never thought that we could do. Okay, partner, and when you're done partnering, partner some more. Partner with those teachers, the employers, the families, to figure out what's the best thing for that person. Okay, because it's going to be as varied and sundry as the jobs they do and as the ways we teach them. Don't get married to one way. And then again, here we go. I'm back to where you started, Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi access is important. Right now, many of our cellular providers are providing reduced cost, free access to Wi-Fi through cellular plans. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it, because if people can find it as a reasonable accommodation, then that will be cool. Then we'll find ways to pay for it. We'll come to you VR counselors and say, hey, this is a way I can support them. And it's going to cost a lot less than you paying the hourly rate to have me there. The cool thing about this virtual approach is it's billable and it's cost effective. Let's back up to the job coaching and job development training. Instead of traveling 3 hours to get to where our training is, putting people up in a hotel overnight, we're doing this right in their home. You don't have to worry about animal care, child care. You can still coach and do all the things you need to do. I tell you, man, that's a big deal to me now. When we look at coaching, instead of driving to be there, we can be right on time and drive only when we need to. These are good things. It's good business. And the other cool thing about virtual is when we're not in the business, guess who takes better ownership of the worker? Their employer, those natural supports. So I really believe this is more than just the way of the future. I think it's the way to do it. So I guess I'm going to open it up for questions and comments. And there's my contact information if you want to talk about it more or share your ideas, because like I said, I'm a grade 8. I would love your ideas and to use them here and to partner with you as you guys try to figure out ways to do it there. So questions?
If there are any questions, please feel free to type in the chat box or,
Unmute
turn on your
yourself.
camera and ask a question.
Tiffany, tell us about where people got the training programs with iPads.
So for the Voc Rehab, I work for Family Services Department, and one of the programs is Voc Rehab, and they have these like trainings, like a 3-day thing, and they do like resume assistance and cover letters, and like they work on your strengths and helping them find their strengths and their skills and everything to get them ready for jobs, for them to apply for jobs. And then I know that once they're done with their classes, then they are all given a tablet or iPad. I don't really remember which one, but I know that that's one of their gifts for the clients when they're done completing the classes. It's pretty neat. My son's in it right now, and he struggles with, he has a disability too. So I think it's a really good program. And the virtual thing they're talking about, because they haven't been able to complete the training, I think it's definitely something I'm going to take to Voc Rehab and let them know that this is something that they can all do to complete what they started.
Tiffany, where's that program at and what's it called?
It's I work for Squaxin Island Tribe Vocational Rehabilitation Family Services.
What state in VR? Which VRs?
Oh, in Washington State for the
Thank you.
Squaxin Island Tribe. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Toonie, there's a program that's called Evernote. And I actually had a job coach who set up a whole task analysis with pictures using that. That's the only reason I know about that one. And so I went out to look at it, And it was like, oh, it's for note taking. Again, go to look at the Job Accommodation Network. They have some tools. It will point you that way, as well as some other ones.
I think that's a big thing for a lot of students.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Wendy. I'm just going to throw out real quick because I want to keep it open for questions and comments. And I wonder, Kristen and I don't know if it's Margaret on right now and Adam from our 3 state agencies, if you want to chime in at any point while the questioning is going on, so that we capture everybody's thoughts. So if you have anything you want to mention, feel free to jump in, the 3 of you, and questions as well, folks.
This is just Kristen.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Nope,
Adam.
go ahead. Nope, go ahead.
All right. Kristen Mackey from VR here. So thank you, Judy. This is great information. And, and also learning with the sharing there. So that's why I asked about where did the program, the 3-day program come from VR. So I know that we do some pretty intensive comprehensive services for our individuals that are blind to teach them the technology, but really learning that the need is far greater, right? And we really need to be looking at it earlier than later. So really great information, and I'll put it out there to the vendors too. If you're finding things that might work or you want to try out, I mean, certainly reach out and we can see, how we might be able to pilot something or try something a little different. But also a reminder that the virtual service provision is allowable and we're encouraging it, and looking forward to seeing how we can expand that in the future too.
Well, thank you, Kristen. Adam?
Hey, hello, this is Adam. I'm with Access, our state Medicaid program. No major updates on that. It's still allowing the virtual supports going on right now. But I just want to say, wonderful presentation. You can see your passion in doing all of this, and it's very contagious. So great job with this, Judy. And thank you for sharing all of this.
Thank you, Adam. Is Nicole or Margaret on from DD that want to, or anyone that from DD that wanted to say anything? Okay, well, if you are and you want to jump in, if not, any other questions for Judy?
Hello. Hi, I'm sorry, my internet connection is weird, but I'm here in the Greater Phoenix area. And so I've been getting the program. I like one of the comments you made about let people design what's right for them. And it sounds like it
And Toya, your connection, is we're not quite hearing you. You're cutting out a lot.
It's been a very difficult thing to do. My internet connection is bad. I'm trying to figure out why. I'm sorry.
Maybe you could type it in.
Yeah, can you type in what your comment was?
Okay. So yeah. Just that to me, I'd love to share more ideas, bad connections. Sorry.
What? Okay, so Jeff, do you want to comment about, are we typing it in? I can't hear too much of.
Yes.
And Toya, I'm sorry, is there a way you could type it into us or contact after, and I'll make sure I get it to you? I don't want to dismiss what you're saying. We want to hear it. Jeff, while she's trying to do that, could you explain what the landing page and things like that for people before they start leaving, please?
Yes, absolutely. And for that PowerPoint, it's actually on our landing page live right now. So just visit that link and you can download the PowerPoint from today, and also review any presentations from prior sessions and all the resources that we've gathered from all of those too. So yeah, it's all there.
Good. Well, I think we're at our time here. Oh, wait, you're going to contact me, Shantoya, or you will? Okay, perfect. I can give you my phone number here too, if that's helpful, or email. Maybe Jeff can put that in there so that you can get in touch with us. So, Judy, amazing. Oh my gosh, I always just love hearing you. We've had the ability to present so many times together, and I never tire, and I always walk away learning new things from hearing you. So thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for being here. It's so wonderful to always hear your new updates. And just for people on the call on this webinar to know, the Kessler project that we had that I bring up quite often that was pre-COVID and certainly relevant now. We're doing an awful lot of work nationally as a result of that. We also are going to be having some additional funding to extend the work here in Arizona. So I will be keeping you posted and talk to you in the future, but I just wanted to let you know that new update. So any last comments or anything that people have? This was wonderful. Judy, thank you. Everyone here, thank you for joining us. Have a great weekend. Contact any of us if you need any more information, and we will keep the conversation going. In 2 weeks, we have a great continuation over the next 6 weeks or so. So we will continue our learning. Judy, thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you guys.
everybody.
Come to Arizona virtually.
Yes, we'll have to have you in person. Okay, bye, folks.